It all went down in an instant. One moment, King Harris was speaking his mind. The next, T.I.'s hand connected, and the world watched in disbelief. The slap wasn't just physical. It was a message, a warning, a public spectacle that left fans reeling. But what nobody saw coming was what happened after. King Harris didn't back down. He didn't shrink. Instead, he stood tall, eyes blazing, and revealed the truth that T.I. wanted buried. This wasn't just about a feud or a diss. It was about power, respect, and the hidden battles behind the flashing cameras. Every word King Harris drops now carries weight, shaking the foundation of the hip-hop world. Social media exploded as fans tried to piece together what really happened. Why did T.I. react that way? What was said that sparked such fury? And most importantly, what secrets did King Harris finally decide to reveal? This is the moment where loyalties are tested, reputations hang in the balance, and the raw, unfiltered drama of the streets collides with celebrity life. Prepare yourself, because what King Harris exposes is bigger than a slap. It's a story of betrayal, loyalty, and the shocking truth that changes everything. By the time you hear the full account, nothing will ever look the same in this battle of egos, alliances, and truth. The curtain has lifted, and the stage is set for a confrontation the world won't forget. The room was electric, even before the incident. Cameras flashed, phones recorded, and the whispers of the crowd seemed louder than the music itself. King Harris knew he was stepping into dangerous territory. Calling out a figure like T.I. in public is never a small act, but he believed that the truth had to be said. He had watched from the sidelines as insults, slights, and manipulations unfolded over the years, and tonight, he wasn't going to hold back. The moment his words pierced the air, tension could be felt like static. He spoke carefully, deliberately, laying out the context, referencing events that most fans only knew in fragments. Every word was precise, exposing the web of loyalty and betrayal that had been forming behind closed doors. T.I., ever the showman, but also a man whose reputation is fiercely guarded, reacted immediately, first with a scowl, then a sudden, shocking movement. The slap was swift, decisive, and left the crowd frozen in disbelief. Cameras caught every angle, but what the world didn't see in that split second was the story behind the action. Years of simmering grudges, rivalries, and unspoken truths that had finally boiled over. King Harris didn't flinch. He took a step back, steadied himself, and looked T.I. directly in the eyes. In that gaze was a silent challenge. He was ready for the fallout, ready for the backlash, and ready to reveal everything that had been held in the shadows. "This isn't about the slap," King Harris began, his voice cutting through the stunned silence. "This is about the truth. And the truth has been hidden for too long." He spoke of moments most people had never known: late-night conversations, private insults, industry manipulations, and the unseen moves that had shaped careers and relationships. Fans had witnessed the public face of T.I., confident, composed, sometimes untouchable. But behind the scenes, King Harris revealed a different narrative. He told of the tension over 50 Cent, a tension that had escalated far beyond what social media posts suggested. Small disses in interviews, subtle gestures during award shows, and passive-aggressive comments in collaborative spaces had all been building quietly until the moment of confrontation. King Harris painted the picture with precision. Every slight, every reaction, every action that made the public slap almost inevitable. Then he went deeper, exposing the strategy behind the scenes. King Harris spoke about the circles T.I. moves in, the people who manipulate and influence decisions, and the pressures of fame that force reactions that seem irrational to outsiders, but are deeply calculated within the industry. Fans listening couldn't help but see the chessboard suddenly. The slap was no longer random. It was the culmination of years of maneuvering, tension, and unchecked pride. Social media erupted within minutes. Clips of the slap went viral, but King Harris's words, the revelations that followed, set fire to discussions across platforms. Fans began dissecting every move T.I. had made over the past months. Every comment, every appearance, every cryptic Instagram story was suddenly connected to the narrative King Harris was revealing. It was as if a new layer of reality had been lifted, exposing the raw, messy truth behind the curated images of celebrity life. And it didn't stop there. King Harris didn't just recount events. He framed them in a way that challenged the audience to rethink loyalty and betrayal. He described how alliances shift in an instant, how friends and colleagues are often only friends until it's inconvenient to remain loyal, and how the choices made in public can have consequences that ripple through the entire industry. There's a lot of talk about respect, King Harris said, his tone heavy with conviction. But respect isn't just about how you act when the cameras are on. It's about how you treat people when no one's watching. That's where the real character is revealed. As he spoke, memories of past confrontations, heated arguments, and moments of tension flashed through his mind. He recounted the private phone calls, the backstage disagreements, and the subtle threats that had always hovered like a storm cloud, waiting for the perfect moment to break. The slap, in this context, was the storm finally arriving, a violent, unmistakable signal that the pressure had reached its limit. King Harris also detailed the personal toll it took on himself, his circle, and even the fans who had loyally followed the drama. It wasn't just about a physical altercation, it was about the emotional and mental stakes involved in calling out a public figure of T.I.'s stature. He described the sleepless nights, the anxious anticipation before posting his revelations, and the fear of retaliation, not just in terms of physical confrontation, but in the potential damage to his career and reputation. But he didn't back down. He continued, shining a light on the hypocrisy, the double standards, and the hidden motives that had influenced behavior for years. King Harris detailed how the entertainment industry often rewards silence, punishes honesty, and elevates image over integrity. The slap was a microcosm of that culture, a moment where the public facade cracked, revealing the raw human emotions beneath. Every detail King Harris shared was calculated to shake the audience, to make them question what they thought they knew. He didn't just retell events, he analyzed motivations, dissected personalities, and revealed the unseen pressures that drive even the most famous figures to extreme actions. Fans were captivated, not by gossip alone, but by the complexity of the story, the layers of drama, and the sense that they were witnessing history in the making. The room where this all unfolded seemed almost mythic in retrospect, a place where ego, truth, and raw emotion collided in a way few could have predicted. The stage is fully set. King Harris has revealed the backstory, exposed hidden truths, and challenged the public perception of T.I. The audience is left hanging, desperate to know what comes next, anticipating the fallout, and ready to witness the next explosive chapter in a saga that is far from over. The moment King Harris stepped back from the confrontation, the air seemed to thicken with tension. Every eye in the room was fixed on him, some wide with shock, others calculating, trying to parse the meaning behind his every word and gesture. But it wasn't just those present who felt the tremor. The world outside had already begun to react. Clips of the slap were circulating on every platform within minutes, trending before the adrenaline of the moment even settled. Fans debated the legitimacy of what they had seen, analysts speculated on motives, and social media erupted with an intensity rarely witnessed in entertainment circles. King Harris knew this reaction would come. He had expected it. What he hadn't anticipated was the speed at which the ripple effect would reach the inner circle of T.I., whose representatives scrambled to craft responses, control narratives, and protect a public image that suddenly seemed fragile. Private texts leaked. Advisors whispered into ears that were not meant to hear. Every move King Harris made now had consequences far beyond the room where the slap occurred. Behind the scenes, tensions ran even deeper than the cameras could capture. King Harris spent hours recounting past betrayals and slights, highlighting moments where trust had been broken. He spoke of conversations that never saw the light of day, of promises made and abandoned, and of subtle power plays designed to manipulate and control. Every detail was deliberate, every revelation measured. He didn't want revenge, he wanted clarity. He wanted the world to understand that what had happened in the room wasn't random. It was the inevitable conclusion of years of tension, secrecy, and unchecked ego. In recounting these moments, King Harris also exposed the psychological warfare that occurs in celebrity circles. Fame, he explained, isn't just a reward, it's a trap. It magnifies flaws, inflates insecurities, and pressures individuals to maintain facades at the cost of honesty. T.I.'s slap was more than a physical act, it was an emblem of the pressure cooker environment that shaped every interaction, every slight, and every choice. Fans didn't just consume the story, they amplified it. Every post, clip, and commentary fueled the fire, turning a single act into a national conversation. Analysts dissected facial expressions, interpreted pauses, and connected dots that weren't always visible. Memes spread like wildfire, but underneath the humor was a serious narrative. People wanted answers. Why did King Harris confront T.I.? What truths were hidden behind public appearances and Instagram posts? The world was demanding transparency, and King Harris delivered in full. The viral nature of the footage also forced T.I. into a defensive position. Public statements were drafted, but the timing and tone of each message were critical. A single misstep could fuel further backlash. Advisors debated whether to respond aggressively, apologize, or maintain silence. Every decision carried weight. The slightest misjudgment could damage decades of carefully cultivated influence. King Harris didn't stop at T.I. alone. He revealed the web of influences surrounding him, friends, managers, and industry figures whose loyalties shifted depending on convenience. He named names, recounted private meetings, and exposed moments where trust had been exploited. He spoke of alliances built on appearances, not substance, and warned that the industry often rewards deception while punishing honesty. He detailed specific interactions that fans could never have imagined: late-night negotiations, subtle threats in private spaces, and the quiet pressure of those who wanted him to remain silent. It became clear that the slap was just the surface of a much deeper story, a story about power, control, and the struggle to navigate an industry that demands obedience over integrity. Amid the drama, King Harris also shared the personal cost. Nights spent sleepless, moments of doubt, and the mental weight of confronting someone so powerful took a toll. The confrontation wasn't just public theater, it was a personal reckoning. He described the anxiety leading up to the moment, the fear of misinterpretation, and the knowledge that the fallout could change his life permanently. Fans began to see the human side of the story, the stress, the stakes, and the courage required to face someone like T.I. openly. King Harris also revealed the impact on his own circle. Friends, family, and supporters had been caught in the crossfire, subjected to scrutiny, gossip, and pressure from both the public and the industry. Their loyalty, he explained, was tested in ways the average person could never understand. Every choice carried consequences, and the emotional toll was cumulative, shaping decisions and altering relationships. The heart of the matter, King Harris emphasized, wasn't the slap, it was the underlying conflict that had been simmering for years. He dissected every slight, every insult, and every public and private interaction that led to the explosive moment. Fans who once saw only a confrontation now understood the layers of context, miscommunication, misjudgment, and a series of decisions that created a perfect storm. He recounted past interactions with T.I., describing moments where pride and ego overshadowed reason. Each story revealed the patterns of behavior that had led to resentment, highlighting a history of unspoken grievances and unresolved tension. It became clear that the slap was a symptom, not a cause, a visual manifestation of a long-standing feud finally coming to a head. King Harris stressed the difference between public image and private truth. T.I., as a celebrity, projected confidence, control, and composure. But behind the scenes, he faced pressure, manipulation, and hidden rivalries. King Harris's revelations forced the audience to reconsider everything they thought they knew. Fame, he explained, is a double-edged sword. It offers influence, but comes with scrutiny and vulnerability. Fans began analyzing the incident not just for entertainment, but for insight into human behavior under pressure. Every gesture, word, and glance became part of a larger narrative. The audience was no longer passive. They were participants in dissecting the events, questioning loyalty, and interpreting motives. As the days passed, the ripple effects intensified. Industry insiders began reassessing alliances, questioning decisions, and considering the implications of King Harris's revelations. Sponsors, collaborators, and fans all weighed the fallout. The incident became a case study in power dynamics, reputation management, and the personal cost of speaking truth in a world obsessed with appearances. King Harris, meanwhile, reflected on his own position. The act of confronting T.I. had been necessary, he believed, to reclaim agency and expose realities hidden behind a polished public image. He acknowledged the risks, but emphasized the importance of honesty and integrity in an environment where both were often undervalued. Even after the confrontation, the story was far from over. King Harris's revelations had set off a chain reaction, creating questions, challenges, and opportunities for both him and T.I. Fans waited for responses, analysts speculated on next moves, and the industry braced for further developments. What started as a moment of public drama had evolved into a saga of loyalty, betrayal, and the complex realities of life in the spotlight. The stakes remained high, but King Harris's courage had shifted the narrative. He had exposed hidden truths, challenged assumptions, and forced a powerful figure to confront consequences that were as psychological as they were public. The world had witnessed only the first chapter of a conflict that promised to shape careers, relationships, and reputations for years to come. The days following the confrontation were unlike anything King Harris had ever experienced. The world seemed to move in slow motion, yet social media and news outlets moved faster than ever. Every word, every glance, every subtle gesture was dissected, discussed, and debated. King Harris could feel the tension in every interaction, not just with T.I., but across the entire industry. Some reached out with support, others with skepticism. And somewhere in the middle was the truth, waiting to be understood. It was a strange kind of silence, one filled with anticipation. T.I.'s camp was working behind the scenes, legal advisors, PR teams, and managers all scrambling to contain the narrative. But King Harris had shifted the conversation entirely. For once, it wasn't about viral clips or sensational headlines. It was about accountability, loyalty, and the realities that no one outside the room had witnessed. King Harris spent long nights reflecting on the chain of events. He went over every conversation, every interaction that had led him to that moment. He knew the slap would be what everyone remembered, but the larger truth was far more complex. Years of subtle manipulations, hidden rivalries, and misplaced loyalties had culminated in one explosive moment. The physical act was simple, the emotional and strategic undercurrents were anything but. He also began seeing the effects of his actions ripple through the people around him. Friends and collaborators who had stayed quiet now had to take sides, and those who had underestimated his resolve began reassessing their own positions. King Harris understood that real power wasn't measured by silence or aggression. It was measured by clarity and courage under pressure. As public discourse raged, King Harris addressed fans directly. Interviews, live streams, and candid posts allowed him to control his narrative in ways traditional media couldn't. He told the world that this wasn't just about one moment of conflict, it was about long-standing issues of respect, honesty, and integrity. Fans were captivated, not merely by the drama, but by the transparency. He recounted the experiences of betrayal, the quiet pressures from influential figures, and the emotional toll of confronting someone so deeply entrenched in power. Every detail painted a vivid picture of the complexities behind celebrity relationships, revealing a side of the industry rarely discussed. The world began to understand. This was more than a clash, it was a microcosm of larger systemic issues within fame, influence, and loyalty. King Harris's revelations created ripple effects across the entertainment world. Industry insiders began reconsidering alliances, while media outlets struggled to keep up with the sheer volume of reactions. Sponsors, collaborators, and fans all reconsidered their perceptions. Social media threads dissected body language, analyzed tone, and debated the ethics of confrontation. The narrative had become a lesson in human behavior under pressure, and everyone was paying attention. Meanwhile, T.I. remained largely quiet publicly, allowing King Harris to dominate the conversation. Analysts speculated on whether the silence was strategic, tactical, or indicative of a deeper reckoning within. Every post, every subtle engagement became part of a larger dialogue, with fans piecing together clues, context, and subtext to understand the unfolding drama. King Harris's own reflections were striking. He spoke openly about the importance of standing firm in one's truth, the courage required to confront injustice, and the need to prioritize integrity over appearances. He acknowledged the risk, the emotional cost, and the potential for backlash, but he emphasized that honesty and self-respect were worth more than fleeting approval or fear of reprisal. He also reflected on the complexities of loyalty and trust. True allies, he explained, are those who remain present in unseen ways, quietly supporting, offering guidance, and providing perspective when it matters most. Those who manipulate, mislead, or create chaos for personal gain ultimately reveal themselves through their actions. In the weeks that followed, King Harris focused on rebuilding his energy, relationships, and focus. He reconnected with trusted allies, reassessed collaborations, and began planning for the next chapter of his career. The confrontation had been necessary, but it was only one part of a larger journey. Moving forward, he emphasized self-awareness, strategic patience, and the ability to navigate both fame and conflict with wisdom. He also began mentoring younger artists and public figures, sharing insights on managing power dynamics, public perception, and personal boundaries. His experience became a guidepost for others navigating similar environments, demonstrating that transparency, courage, and integrity can coexist with influence and success. As the dust settled, it became clear that King Harris had accomplished more than a viral confrontation. He had redefined public perception, challenged the norms of celebrity conflict, and set a precedent for accountability and authenticity. Fans, industry figures, and observers alike recognized the courage it took to confront someone as powerful as T.I. openly, without hesitation or apology. King Harris himself described a sense of closure, not in terms of reconciliation, but in clarity. He had stood his ground, spoken his truth, and faced the consequences. The world had watched, debated, and learned, but he remained grounded, knowing that integrity was more enduring than any viral moment or headline. In the end, King Harris's story became more than a single slap or viral clip. It became a lesson in courage, strategy, and the weight of truth. Fame, influence, and power are never simple. They demand resilience, discernment, and an unwavering sense of self. And while the entertainment world continues to evolve, the legacy of that confrontation remains, a vivid example of what happens when someone dares to stand for their principles, no matter the stakes. King Harris's final message was clear: authenticity matters, loyalty matters, and the consequences of confronting deceit, no matter how powerful the opponent, are worth facing head-on. In a world obsessed with image, he reminded everyone that the truth, spoken boldly, courageously, and without compromise, can never be taken away.